Let's talk about something that's been silently sabotaging your health and longevity for years. That stubborn belly that just won't budge. You know what I'm talking about, right? That big belly that makes your shirt pop out? That visceral fat that's literally eating you alive from the inside. It's not just about looking good in a swimsuit anymore. We're talking about a silent disease that's wreaking havoc on your metabolism and putting your life at risk. Most people think belly fat is just a cosmetic issue, but here's the kicker. It's actually one of the most dangerous types of fat your body can store. What's really mind-blowing is that this isn't just regular fat we're dealing with. It's visceral fat, and it's completely different from the pinchable stuff under your skin. This sneaky little troublemaker wraps itself around your vital organs like a toxic blanket, pumping out inflammatory chemicals 24/7. While you're going about your day thinking everything's fine, this fat is actively working against your body's natural processes. It's messing with your hormones, jacking up your triglycerides, and setting the stage for serious health complications down the road. The scary part, you might not even realize how much damage it's doing until it's almost too late. But here's where things get interesting. And this is something most doctors won't tell you up front. That belly isn't just there because you ate too much pizza last weekend or skipped a few gym sessions. There are specific habits, seemingly innocent daily routines, that are literally programming your body to store more and more visceral fat. These habits are so common, so normalized in our society, that you probably don't even realize you're doing them. And once you understand what these habits are and how they're sabotaging your health, you'll finally have the power to turn things around. But first, we need to dive deep into the first habit that's been quietly building that dangerous belly of yours, ... Now, let's dive into the first habit that's been secretly feeding your visceral fat. And I bet you're going to be shocked by this one. Picture this. You've just finished a perfectly balanced meal with vegetables, protein, and some healthy carbohydrates. Your body's satisfied, your metabolism is humming along nicely, and everything's in perfect harmony. But then, like clockwork, you reach for that slice of cake, that pudding, or whatever sweet treat is calling your name. Just a little dessert. You tell yourself, I deserve it after eating so well. Sound familiar? Well, my friend, that innocent little dessert is about to turn your metabolic paradise into a fat-storing nightmare. Here's what happens the moment that sugar hits your system. And this is where things get really interesting from a scientific standpoint. Your blood sugar spikes faster than a rocket, triggering a massive insulin response that's like hitting the panic button in your body. All that excess glucose gets converted straight into triglycerides. And guess where those bad boys love to hang out? Yep, right around your organs as visceral fat. It's like you're literally feeding the beast that's slowly destroying your health and longevity. The craziest part, you could eat the healthiest meal in the world, but that one dessert at the end completely hijacks your body's natural fat-burning processes and flips the switch to fat storage mode. But wait, it gets even worse, and this is something most people never connect the dots on. When you consistently eat desserts after meals, you're training your body to expect that sugar rush, which messes with your natural satiety signals. Your metabolism starts to rely on those sugar spikes, creating a vicious cycle where you crave more and more sweet stuff. Meanwhile, that visceral fat keeps growing, wrapping itself tighter around your liver, pancreas, and other vital organs. The scary truth is that many people who think they're eating healthy are actually sabotaging themselves with this one simple habit. And speaking of habits that seem harmless but pack a serious punch, all right, let's tackle the second habit that's been quietly expanding your waistline. And this one's going to hit close to home for a lot of folks. We're talking about alcoholic beverages. And before you start thinking, but I only have a glass of wine with dinner, hold up. Here's a mind-blowing fact that'll change how you look at that innocent drink. 1 gram of alcohol packs 7 calories, while 1 gram of sugar only has 4 calories. That means alcohol is almost twice as caloric as sugar. So when you're sipping that 100 milliliters glass of wine, you're consuming about 15 grams of alcohol, which translates to roughly 105 calories just from the alcohol alone, not counting the carbohydrates naturally present in the wine. Now, let's talk about that weekend caipirinha, or cocktail you love so much, because this is where things get really scary. A single 50 milliliters shot of cachaca contains about 20 grams of alcohol. Plus, you're adding 4 to 5 grams of sugar to sweeten it up, maybe some fruit for flavor. We're talking about a caloric bomb that's hitting your system all at once. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the calories. When you combine alcohol with sugar, you're creating the perfect storm for visceral fat formation. Your body treats alcohol as a toxin and prioritizes metabolizing it over everything else, which means all those other calories get stored as fat while your liver works overtime to process the booze. The real tragedy is that most people have no clue about this metabolic mayhem happening inside their bodies. They think they're just having a good time unwinding after a long day, but they're actually feeding their visceral fat like it's a hungry monster. Every sip is contributing to that dangerous fat that's wrapping around your organs, increasing your risk of fatty liver disease, and potentially leading to cirrhosis hepatic down the road. Your metabolism gets completely thrown off balance, your triglycerides shoot through the roof, and that stubborn belly just keeps growing. But here's what's even more fascinating and terrifying about where this fat actually lives in your body. Okay, now we're getting to the really scary stuff. And I mean genuinely terrifying when you understand what's actually happening inside your body. Most people think that belly fat is just sitting there under the skin, like some kind of annoying cushion they can pinch and poke at. But visceral fat? Oh man, this is a completely different beast altogether. This isn't the fat you can grab with your hands. It's the fat that's literally wrapped around your liver, pancreas, intestines, and other vital organs like a toxic blanket. Imagine your organs trying to function properly while being squeezed and suffocated by this inflammatory tissue that's pumping out dangerous chemicals 24/7. It's like having an internal enemy that's slowly poisoning you from the inside out. Here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing, and this is cutting-edge stuff that most people never hear about. Visceral fat isn't just passive storage. It's metabolically active tissue that acts like a rogue endocrine organ. It's constantly releasing inflammatory cytokines, hormones, and other substances that mess with your entire body's chemistry. This fat literally infiltrates your organs, particularly your liver, where it can cause fat in the liver and potentially progress to liver cirrhosis if left unchecked. We're talking about a legitimate risk of death here, not just cosmetic concerns. Your metabolism gets completely hijacked, your insulin sensitivity goes out the window, and your body starts developing what we call metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that dramatically increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. The most insidious part about visceral fat is how it creates this vicious cycle that's incredibly hard to break. As it accumulates around your organs, it starts interfering with their normal function, which leads to hormonal imbalances that make you store even more fat. Your thyroid function can get compromised, affecting your T3 and T4 levels, which control your metabolic rate. Your testosterone production might plummet, making it even harder to build muscle and burn fat. Meanwhile, this toxic fat is literally eating away at your health and longevity, shortening your lifespan with every passing day. But here's what's really crazy. One of the biggest contributors to this internal fat storage is something so simple, so everyday that you probably don't even think twice about it. Here's a habit that's so normalized in our society. It's actually shocking when you step back and really think about it. We're talking about extreme sedentarism, the kind where people literally drive their car to go 100 meters to the corner store. I'm not kidding here. There are folks who live right across the street from the grocery store, and they'll still hop in their car rather than walk for 2 minutes. It's like we've collectively forgotten that our bodies were designed to move. And this complete avoidance of any physical movement is literally programming. Our metabolism to shut down and store everything as visceral fat, your body interprets this lack of movement as a signal that it needs to conserve energy for some kind of famine that's never coming. The crazy thing is, your metabolism is like a furnace that needs to be stoked regularly to keep burning hot. When you're constantly sitting, driving everywhere, and avoiding even the most basic physical activity, that furnace starts to cool down dramatically. Your body becomes incredibly efficient at storing calories as fat because it thinks you're in survival mode. Meanwhile, that visceral fat just keeps accumulating around your organs, and your muscle mass starts wasting away, which further slows down your metabolic rate. It's like a downward spiral where the less you move, the more your body wants to store fat, and the more fat you store, the less you want to move. This creates a metabolic disaster that's incredibly hard to reverse once it gets going. But here's the beautiful thing, and this is where hope comes in. You don't need to become a gym rat to start turning this around. A simple 45-minute walk per day, broken down into manageable chunks, like 20 minutes in the morning and 25 minutes in the evening, can literally restart your metabolic engine. This isn't about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. We're talking about basic human movement that signals to your body that it's safe to start burning fat again. When you start walking regularly, your body begins to remember what it's designed to do, and that stubborn, visceral fat finally starts to mobilize. But even if you do start moving more, there's another sneaky habit that can completely sabotage your progress. Now we're getting into something that's going to blow your mind, and it's probably happening at every single meal you eat. I'm talking about eating way too fast, and this habit is doing double damage to your body in ways you never imagined. Picture this. You sit down with a perfectly portioned meal, maybe some grilled chicken, vegetables, and brown rice. Looks healthy, right? But then you inhale that food like you're in some kind of speed eating contest, barely chewing, just shoveling it down because you're busy, stressed, or just used to eating fast. What you don't realize is that this rushed eating style is literally stretching your stomach like a balloon and setting you up for serious abdominal dilation that makes your belly look bigger and feel constantly bloated. Here's where the science gets really fascinating. And this is stuff most people never connect to their weight struggles. When you eat too fast and don't chew properly, you're sending partially broken down food straight to your stomach, forcing it to expand way beyond its normal size to accommodate all that poorly chewed food. Your stomach is basically an elastic sac, and when you keep stretching it, meal after meal, it stays enlarged, which makes you feel hungrier and need more food to feel satisfied. But that's just the mechanical part. The hormonal chaos is even worse. There's this hormone called ghrelin that controls your hunger signals. And when you eat too fast, your brain doesn't get the memo to shut off the hunger response, so you end up eating way more than your body actually needs. The really clever part about understanding this process is that you can hack it to work in your favor. Here's a game-changing strategy that works like magic. Start every meal with a big salad. And I mean really, take your time eating those vegetables. Chew slowly. Savor the flavors. Give your brain time to register that food is coming in. This simple act of eating salad before the main course triggers your satiety signals early. So by the time you get to your main course, you'll naturally eat about half of what you normally would and feel just as satisfied. Your chewing process becomes this powerful tool for controlling your appetite and preventing that distended stomach that's been making you look and feel bloated. But even with perfect eating habits, there's one more silent saboteur that could be undermining everything. Here's the habit that might be the most dangerous of all, and it's something that's happening in silence, completely under your radar. We're talking about skipping your regular checkup, and this oversight could literally be the reason why nothing you do seems to work for that stubborn belly fat. You might be eating clean, exercising regularly, doing everything right, but there could be invisible metabolic saboteurs working against you 24/7. Your thyroid could be sluggish, your hormones could be completely out of whack, or you might be developing insulin resistance without even knowing it. These silent health issues are like having the brakes on while you're trying to accelerate. No matter how hard you push, you're not going anywhere. Think about this for a second. When was the last time you actually had a comprehensive blood test to check your lipid profile, your triglycerides, your cholesterol levels, or your HDL ratios? Most people can't even remember, and that's absolutely terrifying when you consider what's at stake. Your T3 and T4 thyroid hormones could be completely off balance, wreaking havoc on your metabolism and making it virtually impossible to lose that visceral fat. Your testosterone levels might have plummeted, especially if you're dealing with chronic stress or poor sleep, which directly impacts your body's ability to build muscle and burn fat. Meanwhile, you're wondering why you can't get in shape when your body's internal chemistry is working against you at every turn. Here's what's really scary, and this is where things get serious about your health and longevity. Small things like chronic stress, poor sleep, certain medications, or even a minor injury that required anti-inflammatory drugs can trigger a cascade of metabolic dysfunction that leads to metabolic syndrome. This isn't just about looking good. We're talking about preventing serious conditions like fatty liver disease, diabetes, and cardiovascular problems that could literally cut your life short. The recommendation is simple, but crucial. Get a comprehensive checkup at least once a year, preferably every 6 months, to monitor your metabolic health. Check your thyroid function, hormone levels, lipid profile, and inflammatory markers. Because here's the thing, if there's a silent metabolic issue sabotaging your efforts, no amount of diet and exercise will fix the problem until you address the root cause. So there you have it, my friend, the 5 silent habits that have been secretly building that dangerous, visceral fat and putting your health and longevity at serious risk. We've just uncovered the real culprits behind that stubborn belly that's been frustrating you for years. And now you've got the knowledge that most people will never have. This isn't just about getting into better shape or looking good in photos. We're talking about literally saving your life and adding years to your existence. Every single habit we discussed is completely within your control to change, starting right now, today. The question is, are you going to keep letting these silent saboteurs destroy your body from the inside out? Or are you finally ready to take back control of your health? Here's what I want you to understand. Knowledge without action is just entertainment, and you didn't come this far to just be entertained. You came here because you're serious about transforming your health, and that transformation starts with making some hard decisions about your daily habits. Are you willing to skip that dessert after dinner and break the cycle of visceral fat storage? Can you commit to walking for 45 minutes a day instead of driving everywhere? Will you slow down your eating, chew your food properly, and give your body the respect it deserves? And most importantly, will you schedule that checkup to uncover any hidden metabolic issues that might be sabotaging your progress? These aren't just suggestions. They're life-changing strategies that separate people who get results from people who stay stuck. The reality is that most people will watch this content, nod their heads in agreement, maybe even feel motivated for a day or two, but then go right back to their old destructive patterns. Don't be most people. You've been given insider knowledge about how your body really works, and with that knowledge comes responsibility. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. And every day you delay is another day that visceral fat is literally eating you alive from the inside. If this content opened your eyes and you're ready to dive deeper into transforming your health, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're just getting started on this journey, and there's so much more life-changing information coming your way.